It's Friday, time for another weekly update. Reed City USA is making progress on our moonshot. We're at 8,880 hours and counting so far. You can help us in our voyage by logging your reading on the Beanstack Tracker app on your smartphone. Then be sure to visit readcityusa.com where we update our progress every Friday. Oh, and when we reach our first milestone of 10,000 hours, we'll have a special surprise for some lucky mission participants. I started this week by cutting the ribbon at the SCAPA healthcare expansion in the Hardin Business Park. Over the next several years, SCAPA will be bringing over 100 new jobs to Knox County. We're glad to have them here. I rode with Ms. Jo Terry as she delivered meals for our mobile meals program, and I stopped by the county's Stop the Bleeding training. I'd like to thank Dwight Vandervate and everyone who made that training possible. I chaired the Growth Policy Plan Committee's public forum meeting, and by the way, the next public forum is June 25th at 5 p.m. in the small assembly room. And thanks to the procurement department for inviting me to their summer picnic. That was the best buffalo chicken salad and homemade ice cream I've ever had. Now, last night, County Commission passed my proposed budget. Despite no tax increase, raises for teachers and sheriff's deputies, an increase in the paving budget, and a capital plan which includes 3 new schools while only marginally increasing our debt. Much of the discussion around this budget is the decreased funding to the county's medical reimbursement or indigent care program. So I'd like to explain my rationale for doing this. First of all, I think it's important that everyone understand what this program really is and what it is not. There are a couple facets to the program. The first one is, this is how the county pays hospital bills for prisoners. We are required by law to provide health care for detainees. The detention facility provides a clinic, pharmacy, and some dental services. For other health care, we contract with area hospitals who provide their services at a deep discount. As an aside, last year we spent a little over $1 million on pharmaceuticals and medical costs at the detention facility. Just like other companies, we are being hit with rising healthcare costs. This previous year, our countywide pharmaceutical bill, which includes the detention center and the health department, was up 30%, from about $1.7 million to about $2.5 million. The other part of this program is a subsidy to hospitals for care for very low-income individuals. When we were looking at our proposed budget, we did our best to question everything in every department. Not just say, well, we spent X amount on this stuff last year, let's spend X plus 3% this year. So the $4.5 million that was being spent on indigent care really stuck out to me. You see, while our overall budget is about $853 million, a lot of that is spoken for before I make one decision about budgetary priorities. Schools, the sheriff's office, and our debt service comprise about 80% of the overall budget. Throw in the things that we're constitutionally mandated to do, like courts, and things the people of Knox County expect, like infrastructure and roads, parks and rec, and libraries, and that $853 million is pretty much allocated. In other words, we're not working with an $853 million budget that we can do anything that we want to with. It's probably more like $75 to $100 million. That $4.5 million becomes a pretty big number in that case. After working with Dr. Buchanan from the health department and area hospitals, we settled on a funding reduction of about $1.3 million. While no one was really happy about it, I wanted to cut more, it was a number that we could all live with, and that's what we agreed on. But it still caused controversy because the rest of the budget doesn't have anything to get upset about. The way I look at it, I have an obligation to the taxpayers of Knox County to be a good steward of their money. During the budget process, the county was approached by numerous nonprofits with requests for funding. The total amount requested was about $1.2 million. We only funded about $500,000, but I would have liked to have funded every one of them because they were all worthwhile causes. But the county cannot be everything to everybody with taxpayer dollars. All of this adds up. Over the course of this program, which has been around in some form or fashion on and off for about 66 years, the county has spent over $200 $100 million on it. Now granted, some of that was federal money and some of it had to have been spent. But you can see how over the course of years, a few million here, a few million there, it really adds up. This was an old program and it needed to be reevaluated. Going forward, we are going to monitor this program on an ongoing basis and we will evaluate it quarterly. Also, as I have said time and again, we are committed to doing what we can to help strengthen our great nonprofit and philanthropic communities so that they can do even more to help those in need. When we think about government programs, we often hear about folks who benefit from the program. What we don't hear about is the people who pay the bills. There's a lady named Debbie that lives in my neighborhood. I met her at one of her 2 jobs at a convenience store. She also works at a grocery store. She's a little older and I think that she's raising her grandson. Debbie wouldn't qualify for this medical reimbursement program because she makes too much money, but she still has to pay for it with her tax money. Debbie and people like her support everything we do here at the county. And if I can save her and others like her a few dollars here or there, that's exactly what I'm going to do. We should be spending taxpayer money in ways that benefit all the taxpayers. On a different note, yesterday was the 75th anniversary of D-Day. Like everyone else, I am in awe of the courage displayed by young men who would rush onto a beach in the face of withering machine gun fire. You likely aren't going to survive, but you do it anyway. When I think about the sacrifices my fellow Americans and others made that day, I am reminded of the words of Thomas Paine. If there must be trouble, let it come in my day, so my child may have peace. I believe that all of us are put on this planet to leave it better than we found it. That doesn't mean that all of us will be called to storm the beaches of Normandy, but I think we should all realize this whole thing, this world that we're living in, it isn't just about us. It's about what we're leaving for our kids and our grandkids. That's all for now. I'm taking a week off from the weekly update, so I will see everyone right back here Friday after next. Until then, have a great couple weeks.